Avery, Mr. Hetty, Mr. Moylan,
Present.
Mr. Coteau, Mrs. Chandler,
Yes.
Chairman Daig.
Here, if you would stand, please, and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're on number 3, approval of our minutes from the last meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second. Ms. Vaughn, call the roll, please.
Mr. Moylan,
Yes.
Mrs. Chandler,
Yes.
Chairman Daig.
Yes. We're on number 4, public comment. Would anyone from the general public like to come up to address the commission? Okay. Not seeing anybody. We'll move on to presentations. We have Mr. O'Connor here, our city manager, Mr. Foles, our public works director. He'll give us a slight date of what's been going on.
Mr. Chairman, we don't have a presentation. You have sent out all the backup information that we've had access to, and unless there's some question or something, we have set tentatively a date to go on the tracks. It is one of those that it's by invitation, and the railroad is very concerned about liability and exposure, so our Public Works Director will probably be the representative of the city at that event.
All right, and with that being said, by invitation only, if individuals would like to attend, who do they send a request to?
I guess you can send it to All Aboard Florida but and make that request, but it's my understanding they're trying to keep the numbers that will be marching along on the railroad tracks to a limited number.
Right, because it's my understanding some elected officials would like to be present.
Right.
Okay, so your recommendation is send it to All Aboard Florida because they're the one doing the invitations?
Yes, sir. They'll be the ones making the invitations.
Mr. Roberts is here, and if he could come up and identify himself, and thank you. You're more than welcome. He's with All Aboard Florida.
Hi, good afternoon. Rusty Roberts, Florida East Coast Industries. I just want to address that real fast because make sure there's no misunderstanding of how what is happening. The Florida DOT, Federal Railroad Administration, engineers from Florida East Coast Railroad and All Aboard Florida are in the corridor inspecting the crossings, doing a diagnostic review to determine what will be the level of safety upgrades that are installed that would be commensurate with the passenger service that we will be implementing. So this is a professional review of the crossing to come up with engineering designs that are necessary for those upgrades. It is in an active railroad corridor. It is not something that is conducive to spectators. It is for professional engineers to do the work they need to do the design work they need to do for those kind of upgrades. Anybody who, that's why, as the city manager said, we've invited the public works directors or chief engineers from every city and county that is owns the road or the crossing that we are at to participate, and they will be, of course, participating in the design and the drawings and get final designs. So to be in the corridor, you should be invited. You should be one of the professionals that is part of the team. There's also certain safety gear that one must be wearing, and that's hard hats, that's yellow vests, that's steel-toed shoes, that's those types of things. This is a working operation. So I would not characterize it as much of an opportunity for spectators, and so I would just caution anybody who wants to go to understand that they would be outside of the corridor.
And I thank you for explaining that. I am the constructionist, and I understand completely. And it's professionals will be there looking at the crossings. It's really no place for civilians or elected officials because, number one, you have to look at the insurance issues also. So what I'm hearing from you is it will be just what I call professionals will be inside that corridor.
Yes, sir, and it won't be an opportunity. It won't be a public input or question and answer period.
Understood.
It's just for them to do. They will not be equipped to do that kind of thing. They'll just be doing what their job is to look at the corridor.
All right, thank you, sir, for the clarity. Any other questions from the panel? All right. Thank you, Mr. City Manager, for the update. And under my matters, number 6, I received a resolution that Ms. Vaughn will read into the record. She will give you the title and who it is from. Ms. Vaughn?
A resolution by the Preservation Points Property Owners Association, Inc., strongly opposing taxpayers' money, federal or state, being loaned, guaranteed, or funded to All Aboard Florida, their parent companies, or for a railroad hub in Orlando. Whereas Preservation Points Property Owners Association, Inc. represents residents in the Timber Ridge community located in Indian River County, and whereas Fortress Investment Group, Florida East Coast Industries, FECI, All Aboard Florida, have plans to operate a high-speed passenger rail system between Miami and Orlando along the FECI tracks, impacting the residents of Preservation Points. And whereas the All Aboard Florida project will significantly increase railroad traffic, add to noise pollution, and diminish the quality of life within the Timber Ridge community. And whereas the city of Vero Beach in Indian River County is currently divided by the Florida East Coast Railway, and increased freight traffic coupled with the All Aboard Florida project will further hinder access to public services such as schools, libraries, community centers, parks, as well as delay delivery of essential emergency services such as fire, EMS, ambulance, and police services. And whereas over 90% of Preservation Points Property Owners Association members signed a petition opposing taxpayers funding All Aboard Florida and indicated concern about train noise, delays in emergency services, and diminishing property values. Whereas FECI and All Aboard Florida expects local taxpayers to bear much of the cost of railroad crossing improvement, safety upgrades, installation of quiet zones, and cost associated with the transfer of liability at quiet zones to local government. And whereas it is the intention of All Aboard Florida, a private company formed under the authority of the Florida East Coast Industries, a private company and owned by Fortress Investment Group, to secure taxpayer-supported federal loans in excess of $1.6 billion from the Federal Railroad Administration. And whereas local, state, and federal elected officials may dedicate even more taxpayer funding to mitigate the costs necessary to protect Florida's businesses and neighborhoods from noise, personal safety concerns, and expected environmental damage caused by increasing train traffic. And whereas the fundamental purpose of government is to promote, protect, and improve the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the officers and members of the Preservation Points Property Owners Association, Inc., and its associated communities as follows. Preservation Points Property Owners Association, Inc. respectively request all Florida local, state, and federal officials withhold taxpayer dollars for any funding, grants, concessions, right-of-way agreements, or loans to the privately held corporations of Fortress Investment Group, Florida East Coast Industries, and All Aboard Florida. Florida cities, counties, and other governmental entities which hold leases with Florida East Coast Industries should have the opportunity to reevaluate their contractual obligations and determine what concessions can be made to ensure Florida's businesses, neighborhoods, and residents are provided the maximum possible quiet enjoyment of their property, assurance that emergency services are immediately available if required, and environmental concerns are properly identified and addressed. This resolution will be transmitted to Governor Rick Scott, Congressman Bill Posey, the City of Vero Beach Mayor Winger and councilpersons, Indian River County Commissioners, Senators Nelson and Rubio, President of Florida Senate Don Gates, Speaker of Florida House of Representatives Will Weatherford, U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Anthony Fox, Florida Department of Transportation Secretary Aneth Prasad, Vero Beach Railroad Advisory Committee Chair Ken Daig. This resolution was passed by Board of Directors and voted on June 12, 2014.
Thank you very much for reading that into the record, Ms. Falk. This will be put on our webpage here at City of Vero Beach. Ms. Falk, please tell them how to get to the webpage.
www.covb, and all of the High-Speed Rail Commission information can be found on the bottom of the right-hand side. When you go onto the webpage, just click it and you can find all the information in order.
Thank you, Ms. Falk. And if it's okay with my fellow commission members, I'd like to send a note to these folks to let them know that this resolution was read into the record on this day and where it can be found on our webpage. Is that okay?
Not only is that proper, it sounds like a good idea.
Excuse me, sir, talking to the mic.
I said not only is that proper, it sounds like a good idea.
All right, I'll follow up with Ms. Valk on that. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Ms. Valk. Okay, we're at My Matters, number 7. And at the last council meeting, I did deliver the report from the Rail Commission to the council members. Any questions on what was delivered to the council members at the last meeting?
No.
No, thank you.
And Mr. Moline, you had a chance to read over it. Was everything okay with you? Because you were not here.
No, it looks great. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right, that takes care of that. Did you all get my current list of updates on the news trends and all?
I do.
Okay, I sent that stuff out today, and some of the things that came in just within the last, few days, couple of weeks. The first thing I wanted to go over, and I'll just do this as quickly as possible. Senator Joe Negron attended the meeting in Stewart, and there was a news report with some of the senator's comments on there, and this comes from a post June 26th. Senator Joe Negron out of Stewart announced today he will fight All Aboard Florida and believes the best way to stop the passenger train is to block the $1.5 billion federal loan. He gave some of his reasons at that meeting, and the meeting was taped. I think Channel 25 was there. You can go probably to their archives and take a look. I have the news article on site if you want to read the whole news article for yourselves. He had some other comments there also, how in the near future he is going to be setting up a way for people to come in, that he's actually going to set up some meetings where he can show people how, give them some helping comments as far as making comments concerning the EIS study. Also, as you go through some of the reports that I just put online here, they're talking, first they said in a few weeks, the EIS study would be out, the environmental impact study. I also read in some of the news articles it will be out sometime in the fall. So we're not sure actually when that's coming out. So anyway, keep your eyes peeled for that. And if memory serves me correct, we all did put in for an extension of time for 90 days. That was done at the regional level. We were granted actually 75 days. Is that correct, Ms. Valk?
Yes, sir.
And you all know that, right? Okay.
Yes.
The next one, also Representative Patrick Murphy. He's engaged in this with his concerns. He does have concerns with moving the loan forward. His concerns are also in articles. You can read those also for yourself. Also, in the news articles, there was a confidential document that offers some answers on All Aboard Florida, what we've had many questions here concerning their business plan. There is some information that was released from this report that you might want to take a look at. The actual report is not on our site. One of the news agencies had the report. I'm in the process now of tracing down where that report is so we can put it on our site so people that have questions, they can go and look at the document. On the loan money, the federal loan money, there's also talk about the state of Florida. They've put in, I think, to look at getting some grant money from the state. This is All Aboard Florida. Senator Negron also mentioned that. He's the appropriations chair at this time. He is not too much in favor of that. That's also in one of the news articles. And let's see, there was something else, too, I wanted to bring to your attention. At the meeting that I attended where Senator Negron spoke, there's a commissioner named Heard, H-E-A-R-D. She is a commissioner out of the Martin County area. Is that correct? Okay, Martin County area. She went and she visited with the folks in Washington, and they gave her some insight on how things work. She has concerns that her constituents have about the railroad coming through their community. That's in that article. That's where it talks about, I guess, when she was up that way in Washington, it talks about early July, and also it talks about in the late fall. So again, we're not sure when that study is going to be coming out. Told you about the confidential documents. One of the titles is Confidential Document Offers Some Answers About All Aboard Florida's Plans. That was a very interesting article. Folks with questions out there that might want to take a look at it. Also, this is something fairly new, June 24th. New court documents point to All Aboard Florida's service to Jacksonville. You'll find that an interesting read where they're putting in to do some work in that area. Another interesting article, when you go through it, the Tampa area, where it was talked about, I guess, a few years ago, of them having some rail connections. They're a little bit concerned. I think that they're left out of the loop a little bit. They're hoping in the future that they'll be connected up for the new passenger service. Apparently, they put quite a bit of thought into this process also. If you look at page 2 of the article, and that's a little bit older article, that came out in October 4th, 2013. No, it was updated 2013. There's a John Micah, United States Representative. He has some comments about the federal loan monies, and also he leans towards helping the situation out. So it gives another perspective of how another senator is looking at it, or congressman person, rather. People have asked about the traffic and all. All Aboard Florida had talked about in some of our past meetings about taking some of the traffic off the highway. There was a study done. This particular article makes reference to the folks that All Aboard Florida used and how they view Miami with their traffic on the road. Gives a little bit of numbers of what actually may come off the road, so you might find that interesting. That was put out June 24, 2014. We've had questions about our crossings here in Indian River County concerning access with school buses. There's an article that was out June 26, 2014. Indian River, and I'll just do our county. Indian River County school buses cross the tracks about 312 times each day. That was according to our transportation director, George Miller. And he also states in this, safety is always a top concern, especially at rail crossings, where our drivers are to follow a strict procedure prior to proceeding across the crossings. So you'll find that an interesting little story about our crossings here, about our school buses. We are told this high-speed passenger train will come through our area twice an hour, and I think the trains will run, first thing in the morning, and I think the last one through here is around 11 at night. So these are some concerns that our residents are worried about. Also, still hearing concerns about emergency vehicles, the access from the west side to get to the hospital. There isn't a week that doesn't go by where people ask about that. So they are looking for answers. We're hoping, if it's not addressed in the EIS study, that in the near future that will be addressed, because people want the answers. And I did let the City Council know at the last meeting, we do not have a trauma center here at our hospital. They use the Fort Pierce Hospital in Holmes for the trauma center, so a lot of people don't know that. So that's some concerns. There's also an article that came out June 24, 2014. Governor Scott has heard from quite a few people through the counties where this high-speed train is going to have an impact. It's quoted here as Governor Scott has tapped on the brakes. He knows this is an election year, and a lot of us have a lot of concerns. So he is looking at this. So just so you people know that. And I think that's about it. One other important thing. There's an article, too, that I sent to Tammy today. People were concerned about where they're beefing up the ports Port Everglades, for one, there's an article that talks about the study. They approved a 20-year plan, and there it cites about the containers that will be coming in, the ships. If you're familiar with Port Everglades, you know that they're setting up for a transportation hub there for rail also. So that might be an interesting read for folks that are following us that have concern with the increased freight and possibly the increased freight on our tracks here that go through our city and our county. Let's see. Anybody have any comments? Since I'm taking up the whole meeting here. And one thing that came in today, and I don't think you have it, high-speed rail plans in the works for Duval, and St. John's. New documents just filed indicate a move to bring high-speed rail to Jacksonville. So that I don't think I gave that to Tammy yet, but that's kind of fresh anyway. And I think that's about all I have. Our next meeting. As they were, we're on number 6, number 7. Do you folks have any concerns?
Nothing, thank you,
No.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next meeting date, number 8, August 11, 2014 at 4 o'clock. September 29, 2014 at 4 p.m. If that's it, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.